Hi. I said something at the end of my last video regarding how the way it played out on Sunday. AOC held the entire speakership in her little tiny hands at the very end. It was up to her. It was up to her whether Nancy became speaker. Like she was the last vote. Nancy Pelosi won by one vote, and that vote was AOC. So that event was a lot like a sporting match. This was the article before the event and said Pelosi needed 216 votes to win and said that the X factor is AOC. That's just like sports. When you watch, like, this is Sunday morning, right? What do? We watch football on Sunday morning. Come on, right? Me? Yeah, I might put a football game on and do other stuff, but I sure as hell am not going to put this on. This was the boringest sporting match I ever freaking watched. I didn't understand the rules. This is like when my wife watches football. She has no clue why these stupid men are beating up each other or like what the rules of the game are. And I don't know what these stupid politicians were doing, but I did have a sense that it was going to be a tight game, whatever that meant, okay? And anyway, like, so this is like a 4.5 hour stream. And I didn't sit there watching the whole thing. I was doing other stuff. But if you scroll to the very, very end, somewhere in here toward the very end, there's AOC's vote is called, and she says Pelosi. And at the time she did that, so Pelosi ended up winning by 216 votes. I'll just take this with a grain of salt because this is not my sport. But here's what I understood. They knew 216 was the number before the day even started. By the time AOC, in the seventh grouping, because she was in an earlier grouping and she didn't even show up, we don't know if she was in the bathroom or she was there and didn't vote. We don't know anything, and we still don't know 3 days later, but we know that she didn't vote in the first pass through alphabetically all the Congress people. So they had a seventh grouping of all the people that didn't vote the first time. And they started with the A's and the B's, and then on the B's we got Cori Bush like falling over, and so you could see tick, 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 tick. Nancy's getting closer to 216. You get down to the O's. By the time AOC voted for Pelosi, AOC knew, she knew, and she had people telling her, if she didn't know, that she held the speakership in her hands by herself. And if she didn't hold it, at least she might. And her strategy would have been to vote present or not vote again silent and just see how it all shook out. And if Nancy didn't get to 216, by the time that third round came in, then we're talking, like if you got on forced to vote, and I got on when there was about 5,000, I think it got it over 41,000 by the time this vote was held. And on that page, forcetovote.org, there's 15 faces. Well, it's 15 faces because we're like, well, we need 15 or some of them or 8 or like, how many do we need? And, we didn't know, but that was before the game, and we don't watch this sport, right? So, but the way it played out, we didn't need anybody else. We just needed AOC. In sports, she'd have been like the star player on the underdog team. And we're playing against the best pitcher in the world, and the pitcher is pitching a no-hitter, but somehow AOC got a walk, got bunted over to second, and sacrificed to third. There's 2 outs, 2 strikes on the batter. And we're the progressives with AOC on third base, and we're like, we lost. That's it, And then the pitcher throws a wild pitch. The ball is bouncing around in the batting cage, and the catcher can't find it. And we're all watching AOC, and we're saying, "Run, run, you idiot, run!" And what does she do? She doesn't budge an inch. I'm just giving you a sports analogy, right? She could have said to Pelosi, "Oh, here's your 4 people for you. I am the person holding your speakership in my own little hands." Did she do that? Get us forced to vote? You know how the game ended.